What's going on, everyone? My name is Lucas, and a lot of people have dreams of becoming a professional footballer. I've had that dream as well. Unfortunately, it never got fulfilled. To those who do make it, their story is usually unique, but the best ones are those who come back from major setback. And in my opinion, Callum Wilson is one of those cases. Before joining his local club, Coventry City, he grew up with 5 siblings with a single mom in a rough neighborhood. "We just had to make the best of what we had," he said. "Everyone's life goes down a different route, and it's about the choices you make. Thankfully, I made the right ones, but some of the kids I used to hang out with didn't." He left Coventry City twice to go back to his Sunday League team. The first and second time, he didn't really like it, and wasn't a fan of mooching rides off people, so he went back to Sunday League. Thankfully, he went back to Coventry for a third time, and he stayed because he realized if he wants to live his dream, he needed to remain. His first appearance occurred when he was 18, but was sent on multiple loans to teams in non-league before getting a chance to play for his local club. In the 2013-14 season, the chance came, as the 21-year-old had a breakout season. He hit the back of the net 21 times, and although he was only playing in the third tier of English football, he started to catch some eyes. His pace was a major strength, which led to many chances, although all I can judge off is this video on YouTube and this training session video. It seemed like he rarely took shots with his laces, but instead he calmly slots the ball with the side of his foot, or if the keeper bites, he easily got around him. Quick feet with the ball was another upside, and he did get 6 assists, so he wasn't just a pace merchant. However, with the club only finishing in 18th, and the championship clubs breathing down his neck, Coventry received an offer of around $3 million, which leads us to the continuance of Callum Wilson's rise. Many clubs wanted him, but Bournemouth manager Eddie Howe convinced Callum that he would be more than just another striker. There was a plan for him, and whatever that plan was, it worked out great for both Callum and Bournemouth. A historic season came for the Cherries, as the team finished the season in first, which meant the club would be going to the top division of English football for the first time in their history. Callum Wilson proved to be vital that season, scoring 20 goals, although it wasn't enough to catch Daryl Murphy of all people, who got 27. Nevertheless, Callum did his part to help Bournemouth by improving on what he did well with Coventry. Some strengths I saw from highlight clips, which I know doesn't paint the full picture, but you can see some patterns to his game. These positives were getting in behind, off the ball movement, quick feet, which helped him win a lot of penalties, and anticipating rebounds, which I think is an underrated trait in strikers. His side-footed finishes continued to be his bread and butter. Also, his body positioning gave him an advantage to get in between the ball and the defender, leading to better opportunities to score. Hearing about Bournemouth for the first time, I grew a bit of a liking towards them. I'm not a die-hard fan or anything, I just thought they were quite likable and a bit of an underdog story. Now, the first time I heard about Callum Wilson was watching the first weekend of the Premier League. They highlighted 2 players on Bournemouth, Matt Ritchie and of course Callum Wilson. Now, the first thing I did was put them on my fantasy Premier League team. But unfortunately, that was the same year where I told my friend to put Mars on his team while forgetting to do so myself. Can't win them all. Anyways, the season started well for Callum, scoring 5 goals in 7 matches, including a hat-trick against West Ham. He showed that he could translate his game from the Championship to the Premier League with his first goal against the Hammers. He showed smart movement off the ball to get away from the defender, receiving the ball, and calmly finishing it. It was going well for him, and people started talking about him receiving a call-up to the England national team. Unfortunately, he ruptured his ACL, meaning he was going to be out for 6 months. It was a big blow for his club, as many expected them not to do well in the first place, and without him, not many gave them a chance. Obviously for Callum, this was a tough time in his life. He may have been on his way to being an England international, but now had to spend time on recovering. He wanted to get back right away, and refused to go on holiday, saying, "I knew if I took 2 weeks off, my return would be 2 weeks later." In hindsight, that may have proved to be his biggest mistake throughout this process. He did come back later in the campaign and had a preseason as well. Unfortunately, he was never back to where he wanted to be. He struggled with goal scoring, only having 6 goals in 26 appearances, although many of the matches he didn't play the full 90 minutes. Even though he struggled a lot, at least he was playing matches, and Bournemouth were still doing relatively well in the Premier League. However, he has a high standard for himself, and knew it wasn't good enough. Sadly, Callum Wilson had another obstacle to get over. In February 2017, he yet again suffered a ruptured ACL, this time to his other knee. First his right, now his left. He knew he had to change his approach to this injury, as being angry wasn't going to help him. He mentioned that this ACL injury was actually beneficial, which not many people in his position would say. He went on multiple vacations, including one in Qatar, where there is this video at Aspetar, which he receives treatment and gives an interview. Speaking of his interviews, in them, he seems quite humble and a sound guy. Whether it's with The Guardian, a local newspaper, or even with Soccer AM, he's honest while not taking himself too seriously. Having these holidays gave him time to reflect, which he didn't do with the previous injury. He came back in late 2017, and while he had some good matches, his form was poor, but that was understandable. Bournemouth once again did well, and with the preseason approaching, Wilson began to show what he's capable of. After a preseason against tough European opposition, Callum Wilson and co were ready for the Premier League season. So far it has went well, as Callum Wilson has 2 goals and 2 assists in 4 Premier League matches, while Bournemouth are off to their best start in Premier League history with 7 points in 4 matches. For Callum Wilson, I'm not 100% sure if he was this strong last season, but he does look like he bulked up a little while still maintaining his pace and agility. He can hold up the ball pretty well and still churn quite quickly, which is a huge advantage for him. This causes defenders a lot of problems, and it doesn't help that his off the ball movement is great as well. You could see him getting in behind defenders, going into spaces where defenders have to chase him, and he's still able to hold them off and pass it to someone else, or just churn quite quickly and dribble past them. He didn't score against Everton or Chelsea, which he probably should have, as the chances he had were quite good. But at least he's getting into those spaces, and hopefully against future opposition, he does capitalize on those chances. An example of his off-the-ball movement other than running in behind was from his corner kicks. Well, he's not taking the corner kicks, but he's moving into the box and moved into the near post areas to win the header against Everton, which led to him hitting the post and Ake hitting the rebound into the back of the net. Just a couple minutes later, he had the same opportunity and just missed the net. Another thing I've noticed is that he's won 2 penalties this season in only 4 matches, one against Cardiff and one against Everton. Although he missed 1 penalty this season, so maybe that's a weakness. But to be fair to him, he did score a class goal against West Ham, even if the defending was quite awful. I guess some other weaknesses he had was running in behind against Everton. What I mean is trying to break the offside trap, which he got caught offside quite a few times against them, and I guess he had less of that in the Chelsea game because Bournemouth had less of the ball. And also, he had some good chances against Everton and Chelsea, like I mentioned earlier, and he missed them, but I'm just nitpicking right now. At least he's getting into those spaces, and maybe for the rest of the season, it'll be a success for Callum and Bournemouth. They play a nice style of play, which I really enjoy. It's not something you see a lot from the smaller teams, so there's a lot of promise for this Bournemouth side and Callum Wilson. It's great to see Callum Wilson having a good start to his Premier League season, and hopefully he can continue it throughout the season while helping my fantasy team on the way. Please, Callum, I need all the help I can get. Joking aside, thanks for watching the video. Let me know your thoughts about Callum Wilson or the Premier League season down below. And once again, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Take care.